couple weeks ago, October 9th, California went dark. PG&E, an electrical utility company, shut off power to 34 counties in California, about 2 million residents, affecting schools, hospitals, and homes. All of this was done in the hopes of preventing further wildfires caused by downed power lines. Forest fires in the northwestern United States have become an increasingly large issue, largely due to human influence through failed fire suppression and through climate change. And we are struggling to adapt. Now, for me to explain this properly and for you guys to understand, I have to explain fire. So, how fire works is it takes three different ingredients: heat, fuel, and oxygen. Now, in nature, these are found through three different ways. Lightning will create heat, will strike trees, and those trees will provide the fuel needed for fires to start. Another way is lava. This is less common, obviously, but lava will provide abundant heat for forests to ignite and become a forest fire. The third and last is a dry climate, which will provide all the necessary ingredients for fuel to become particularly flammable and for heat to be created by, like, an antelope kicking a rock or something. To recap, lightning hitting a forest, the forest would ignite, and then the forest would burn down. That was kind of the natural cycle. Now, this all sounds kind of scary, like a lava forest fire. That's a little scary, but you have to remember that forest fires were, and generally are, a natural part of the forest ecosystem. They keep forests healthy by creating all of that fuel into ash that provides nutrition for the soil and eradicating invasive or overpopulated insect species. So it's normal, it's healthy. And that was the normal cycle before humans kind of became involved. In 1910, 3 million acres of fire was burned across Montana, Washington, and Idaho. Because of this, the government and the public were concerned, of course, about their forest safety. And so they provided funding for the Forest Service to, fully suppress these fires. And they did a really good job. Since 1920, fires have continuously gone down, and the number of fires that have occurred have dropped to below half of the expected average. But because of the suppression, of this wonderfully done suppression, it broke the natural cycle that was present in nature. Forests eventually began to create dead brush and sticks and saplings on the forest floor here, which would create an abundance of fuel. So when forest fires did happen, they were intense, they were infernos. John Oblatskow and Park Williams, in a 2016 October publishing in the Proceedings of National Academy of Science Journal, or the PNAS Journal, if you will, showed that humans have contributed an additional 16,000 miles, or 10 million acres of burned forest from 1984 to 2015. That's a lot. For context, that's Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, and Connecticut combined. Additionally, climate change has increased fuel aridity by 75%, which means that fuel is now drier. It's more susceptible to heat. Climate change has played a large impact in forest fires. It has also created more lightning storms, which have contributed to the amount of forest fires that have been created. David Romps, in a Science magazine publication in 2014 of October, showed that 50% of lightning will increase over the next century. So there will be more forest fires, and that they will become harder and harder to deal with. Despite these problems, humans have developed and created different ways to prevent and suppress fires. foam solvent, which will help suffocate fires and reduce the valuableness, the dryness of fuel. It'll also suffocate the fire. They'll drop this from planes and helicopters, which will cover a wide area. Firefighters will also do some clever things. They'll like dig around a forest fire, create kind of a fire break, a gap of fire, so that the fire can't spread. There's kind of a natural one that you can see here. Additionally, they will also do controlled burns, where they will light the brush or the dead stuff at the base of forest fires, so that when a natural forest fire does occur, they don't become this intense blazing inferno. And despite all of these different techniques, these different inventions that we've discovered, forest fires are still a huge problem for humanity, because the scope of the problem, as we've seen in California, has increased and increased. Forest fires have become more powerful with the amount of dead fuel in the forest. Additionally, the Forest Service is getting inadequate funding to suppress these fires. By 2021, they are expected to use 67% of their annual budget just for suppressing and preventing wildfires that occur. And October 24th, a couple weeks ago, California went darker. An additional 800,000 people lost power. Forest fires were once a natural, occurring, regular process, but because of human influence, they've become something we can't control. And human adaptation is still